Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Robocraft with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to Factory Fun. In today's episode, we have a very special episode in which we are going to be trying out a grand total of 6 robots. Each of them will get one game, either in Elimination or Team Deathmatch, unless I feel that I didn't really explore the robot enough, and I feel like another battle would showcase the bot a little bit better. We'll be focusing mostly on Elimination purely because of time constraints, and the reason why we're doing this today is because with the last episode, with me asking for the smaller robots, I have never had so many robots suggested to me, so I'm trying to cover as many as possible in a single episode. The randomizer has been turned on, and 6 have already been drew, and the very first is The Virus by Lootystuff. A small bot with a big rail, this bot can take out any bot from a distance. Now I've got to say, it looks adorable. It looks absolutely adorable. Do I think it's going to do particularly well? No, to be perfectly honest, I don't, but I feel like if we are very careful, if we stay behind the main group, we could possibly do a little bit of damage, try and do a bit of healing to boost our score. We could get a decent score at the end, and this is a robot with only 401 P-flops. So let's quickly purchase it, but before we go into a battle, I would just like to see what type of rail that actually is. That is the rail eraser, which is, here we are, the largest rail. So that is going to be a very, very powerful shot. I'll be honest, I didn't think that was the eraser. I thought the eraser was slightly larger than that, but it turns out the robot itself is actually a little bit bigger than it first looks. So with the virus, let's get straight into an elimination and see how we do. And here we go with the very first battle of today's episode. Let's see just how well we can do, or how silly we can do. So first of all, how does this thing handle? Whoa, that span out really quickly. Oh dear God, this is very, very difficult to control. Even trying to go in a straight line, this thing veers horribly. Well, not horribly, just very, very difficult to control. Wow, okay, it's going to be a little bit... Okay, I'm just pressing forwards, nothing else, just forwards, and now I'm trying to turn. This is going to take a lot of getting used to, so a bit of a concern when it comes to basic controls, it must be said. Shouldn't really go this way, to spot him anyway, and spot the other guy next to him, and look, little Tesla fellow. Oh, I thought I was stopped. I so thought... Oh, cruiser wheels. Cruiser wheels are bad at the best of times, to be honest. Might need to play another match of this at this rate, because we're not really doing much. Oh, come on. Spotted him, and can we get a hit? Darn it, we only have one shot, so missing is such a big deal. There we go, we hit him. We hit something, at least. And he exploded by killing our ally. Well, he died the way he would want to. Cruiser wheels beating tracks there. Stop spin... I didn't even turn that time! I'm not even blaming this bot, I'm just blaming cruiser wheels in general. Oh, come on, stop! Stop! Well, maybe it is the thruster placement, I'm really not sure. Come on, there we go. Let's just not hold down forwards, that seems to be a much more logical way of doing it. You can actually control it then, well, ish. Not really helping out too much. Yeah, we hit him! Hit him twice, in fact! And now we're healing. I'm helping. There's 2 enemies left. Where are they, though? Oh, I really need to, like, demonstrate this in the test mode, like, holding down forwards and then not. Okay, I'm just holding down forwards, nothing else. I just turned a little bit then, and I'm not doing anything now, and we spin out. Yep, controlling this thing, not the easiest, must be said. Wow, it's so difficult. Okay, don't hold down forwards, there we go, just tap it gently. If you turn even a little, you spin out. There we go, I'm just moving forwards now, we're okay. We somehow got second place because of healing. I I think I have a good opinion on this. I'm going to go into the test mode or the AI battle just for a second, just to see the controls, to see if it really is as bad as I thought it was. Well, thank you, I got some rods. So, styles are 4. I think it looks absolutely adorable. Combat, it's going to be a 2 or a 1, purely because of how difficult it is to control. The weapon itself, obviously, although it is a very powerful rail, only one shot is very weak. You saw when I actually hit targets, I wouldn't be able to 1v1 anyone, it just wouldn't happen, unless it's a very, very frail robot, which you can one-shot, which I'm sure will happen sometimes. But I couldn't see... Okay, I'm going to give it a 2, based on the fact I think it would do okay in terms of taking damage. Also, 1 to me is completely unplayable, and although this is somewhat borderline because of the controls, I feel like you can still play it. So, this is on 1 overclock, which of course is lower than in Elimination. And with only 1 overclock, it's already remarkably difficult to control. It just feels inconsistent. When you're trying to move forward, sometimes you'll completely spin out when you start to turn. Other times, you won't. Like then, I only just tapped it, but now, nope, spin out that time as well. Just tapping it now, and it's okay. But then, on this time, there we go, we spin out again, so... I'm considering perhaps a 1 may have been better there for combat. It looks pretty, but definitely needs some work. And onwards to the next robot. Into Elimination yet again. Now, sadly, this is actually the second battle taking this robot into. The first one I thought was going fine, I thought was normal, however I had actually desynced very close to the start of the battle. I had realised this when I reached the opponents and they were all stationary, and I could still damage them. So, to be the good sport I am, I decided to Alt F4 out of the game. It didn't give me the option to rate the bot, so I'm hoping that will come up after this battle, but I'm not sure if it will. So my first opinions, which I was saying in the last battle, but I've simply cut that out, is that the controls are a little bit sluggish, but they are incredibly stable because of the rudders on the back. This is basically the opposite of the last robot, so a very nice change indeed. In terms of speed, it feels very quick. It looks very nice, and it has a nice bit of redundancy when it comes to weapons, so we are able to keep fighting, hopefully, as we take damage. Hello! We have a little drone. I didn't know drones could go to this low CPU, honestly. Ooh, I got absolutely crushed. I'm assuming that, it's not quite as well protected as the higher ranking drones. Spotted him. Oh, well, I spotted him again, but he died anyway, so... Oh, hello, shotgun. That's not what I wanted to see. Well, might need to do another elimination for that, honestly. That was pretty quick. To be fair, not much can really survive a shotgun to the face, so I don't know really what to say about that. The weapons felt good. The controls felt good. We may have to speak about the rating again after the next battle, but for now, style, I'm giving this thing a 4.5, edging towards 5. Once again, unless it goes over, I don't give it. 5 is a very special place for things I really think deserve it. The ultimate, the best. This is close, but not quite there, but it is very, very nice looking combat. We're going to keep it as a 3 for now, and I will change that verbally after the next battle, most likely. Same map, opposite side. Let's see how we do here then. One of the enemies has a robot called Ninja Star Small. That is honestly kind of terrifying. I'm hoping it, well, it's just a tiny little ninja star. It's both terrifying and kind of awesome. Okay, we're going first, apparently. Not really what I want to do. I don't feel like this robot is particularly sturdy. I think the shotgun did show that. But to be fair, it did survive multiple shotgun shots and take out the weapon before being killed. It's just we've fought someone with a mega plasma and a shotgun at close range. It really wasn't going to work out too well for us. No flyers over there just yet. Slow down. That is a tiny little plane. And I think we may have just taken him out of the sky with just a couple of laser hits. Very nice indeed. Oh! Be a little bit careful, there are several robots over there. Just stop that guy's auto healing, that's the main thing we needed to do there. Are Proto Seekers more viable now in the small... Ow! In the smaller ranks? That was painful. That was very painful indeed. But thankfully we do have a healer. that did tank that damage fairly well. In the lower rankings, it's very easy to be destroyed by a full plasma volley. Going backwards is quite difficult, this robot. It doesn't move for a very long time after pressing the back key. After pressing S. And team victory. Didn't really do much there, honestly, so did my opinions change much on the robot? We are going to have to move on because of time constraints. I would love to get another match with this, but like I say, I want to cover 6 with this one. I feel like I'm glad we survived that full volley, that they were Plasma Devastators, and it was a full volley of Plasma Devastators, which would kill a lot of small robots, so I'm glad about that. The controls are actually really nice. It's a bit sluggish to turn, so that's a bit of a concern. The weapon placement is absolutely fine, so I think a 3 closing into a 4 would be where I'd say combat. For style, it's a very solid 4. So all round, a decent bot, I would recommend. The next robot is the Support Hover. All-round good hover that hits with a powerful alpha strike, then finishes with its lasers, and finally, after the battle, heals its allies. So, not much really to say, which isn't covered in the description. There is a wide variety of weapons on this robot, which could be considered a strength, could be considered a weakness. Honestly, it does very much depend on the robot and its main role. I feel like this will do better in Team Deathmatch than in Elimination, but I realise this video is already over 10 minutes long at this stage. Well, at least I think so after editing, so we are going to be putting it into Elimination, but I would say that with this type of robot, Team Deathmatch generally is favoured, especially with the nanos. I was also told to use this robot in camera control steering, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Onwards we go. Hopefully this robot won't get a desync in its very first battle. So, how do I want to play this robot? Find the largest ally robot, stay nearby. Oh look, this lovely robot has a chain shredder, a flak weapon, and then the lovely mega laser. Honestly, I think this robot is a walking argument against the current matchmaking and an argument for the old tier system. Just look at it. How many expensive things can I put on this small robot? Apparently many. That thing's terrifying. Just gonna stay nice and close. I'm actually going to play it more as a healer than anything else. He's gone insane. Well, maybe I shouldn't have put my stock in him then. Well, even with my terrible driving, this thing didn't flip, so bonus points there. Enemy over there. Anyone fighting him, or are we going to fight him ourselves? Apparently this thing has a decent alpha strike, and I didn't check what plasmas these are, so I will check that after the battle. Oh. I wanted to do damage! Please don't be a battle where we do nothing. That is the one con with the lower rankings. Battles can be over before they really start. A little bit unstable at higher heights, so let's stay a bit low. It's a bit top heavy, I think, in terms of its weight. Now I know there's someone hiding on that cliff, so I'm going to try to see if we can get him. Or, darn it. Hello! You are lagging big time. Are they the Mega Wheels? Yes, they are. I'm blaming Cluely for the fact that the Mega Wheels are everywhere again at the moment. They're not particularly good though, mind you, so it's not like it's a meta-destroying thing, but I guess with the changes to damage, which is going to happen soon, maybe they will become better. Yay, we got a kill! Oh, hello little robot. It does have a fairly decent alpha strike. Not that we've really used it to our advantage that much yet. Let's go for his weapons as much as we can. Took out a couple of them, just not the one he's using. There he is. There it is. I feel like this may be the Plasma Devastator, or it might be the one underneath it. And a little bit of healing done at the very end there. Okay, that was a fairly positive review. Didn't really get to see how it takes damage, but ignoring that, the controls are fine. It's a little bit top heavy, so it does tend to rock a bit more than you'd like. The weapons are placed surprisingly well, honestly. Of course, smart weapons now a thing, but I never felt like the weapons were clipping and thus slowing down the fire rate. The idea of the robot's absolutely fine, and yeah, overall, it's a good robot. I think it's a 4 or a 3 in combat. For style, I'm going to say a 2. It's not really styled in any major way, or yeah, in no major way is it styled. It just looks like its components. Some people do like that look, but personally, again, style is very subjective. I don't particularly like it. Combat, I'm going to say 3, because I do feel like as it takes damage, it's going to be unstable, because it's already unstable, and I feel like it could be hard to control in very bad situations. It could become very difficult to actually use. In terms of weapons and everything, it's absolutely fine. It's a very decent bot. It's a very good robot. It's just not excelling in any major way. Before I forget, however, I did just check, and the plasma is the Plasma Ravager, and the lasers are the Laser Blaster. The medic weapon is the Nano Mender. I would also like to amend what I just said as well. I think this robot is a little bit better than I kind of said there. It's sometimes difficult to praise a robot and say negatives at the same time and completely come across what you're trying to say. I think this robot is a good robot. I think it's a good base robot, and I think it could be improved very easily. I feel like it really is a 3.5 rather than a 3. It's close to a 4. I was hinting towards 4, but because we can only test the robots today in a very limited way, it's difficult to say a final verdict, so please bear that in mind. I could be a little bit off with pretty much every robot I'm using today, as I am playing them a very, very small amount. The next robot is Mr. McChomp. This robot's hungry for pancakes, well done sir. Its large face makes climbing slopes a little awkward, camera controls strongly recommended. I don't know what I can say about this robot that's not immediately evident. It's kind of glorious, honestly, and weirdly enough, I feel like it's going to do quite well. It's a heavy block spam robot that defends its legs very well. It has gun redundancy, and it has a variety of weapons with both plasma and lasers. I think this will do quite well. I honestly do think this will do quite well. So, full forge cost as always, and let's get straight into an elimination. This time I was a little bit smarter and I checked what our weapons actually are. We have the Laser Hornets and we have the Plasma Bombarders, so at least this time we know the size of the weapons we're dealing with. Now I don't want to go first, although I do feel like this thing will probably survive pretty well. I still don't want to go first. I'm guessing Lock-On Missile Launcher or Mega Plasma, one of the two. It's hard to tell from here. I assumed he was going to hide on top of that tower, but not. Okay. Little bit of damage done there, that plasmas. Not that much, but a little bit. Oh, I do love the Laser Hornets. They're so nice. They are probably my favourite. In terms of just how they feel to shoot, they are probably my favourite. In terms of actual gameplay, though, I would say I prefer the Vaporizers. But since this is a lower ranking robot, it's not a surprise we went for these. Especially with how much block spam we've got. Oh, flyer there. And let's go for the Proto Seeker guy instead first. Wow, that really destroyed us there. Proto Seekers are so much stronger now than they used to be. However, he is using a shotgun. There goes one of his rotors. Can we get the second one? It would be lovely if we could. Oh, well, that rail certainly got it. Okay, so, opinions so far. Very good, honestly. Very good. Weapon placement is nice. It can clearly take damage. Controls are fine, which is expected from a mech, honestly. Come on, so close to killing that guy. He's got a medic next to him. And once again with the Proto Seekers. Who? You. Can we make this jump? Now I believe this does have a rotor blade on the inside. It certainly feels like it, and I think that's what I read from the comments. Well, the comment. Why must you be annoying? Haha! Destroyed. The power of the Laser Hornet. I want to look at this thing's face, but camera controls means I can hardly do that. Yeah, it definitely has a hover on the inside. It has too much control when in the air otherwise. Come on, can we get the last killing blow here? This would be lovely. And no, the plasma sadly took it, but we did get first place with 5 assists and 3 kills. A very favourable start. So, how do I feel about this robot then? I think I explained myself pretty well during the battle, honestly. It's tanky, it's easy to control, the weapons are a very good combo, and it got me an epic, so that's certainly bonus points there. So, in terms of... okay, so it's quite difficult to tell from one. I would say 4, a very high 4 for combat, almost at a 5. It's so difficult to give 5s. In terms of style, on the other hand, I am going to give a 5, because you know what? I really like this robot. When I first saw it, it made me laugh. When I was playing it, I felt like I am basically a head with legs, which make me very, very happy indeed. And I feel like people will look at this robot and think it's a good robot. Overall, 5 for style, 4 for combat, certainly would recommend, a lot of fun. This next robot is certainly a weird one. So number 5, the F-15 VTOL. Spent a lot of time balancing it so it has a stable liftoff. I have not actually seen a robot yet in Robocraft that uses thrusters as a means to be a VTOL for its vertical liftoff. If this thing is balanced, I think this is going to look really, really cool. Now I have already purchased it, so we can go into test mode very quickly before going into an actual battle, just to see how this thing handles, so I can test it out as best as I can. The only early concern I do have, and honestly it's a pretty big early concern though, is that I feel as this thing takes damage, it's going to very quickly become unstable. The thrusters are placed in such a way that the vertical takeoff element will quickly become a spinning element if any damage is done, so a bit concerned about this robot being a bit frail. I feel like Flak is going to have a lot of fun dealing damage to this. So before we go into elimination, let's have a quick test in the in the test mode to see how it does. I'm really hoping this thing's stable. Oh wow, that is so cool. How does it handle? Surprisingly like a normal flyer. I am remarkably happy with that. Once it's in the air, you can't even tell it's set up in such a way. Although it did cause me to stammer, so obviously he's going to have minus points there. Certainly a lot of bonus style points, so I'm very, very happy with this. Really, really happy with the style. Just a really cool concept, which I personally have not seen before. I'm not saying it's not ever been done before, but certainly I've never seen it being done in such a way. Really cool. Let's get into elimination. The lasers, by the way, are laser vaporizers. Here we go, thankfully on a different map. Now, like I was saying, I am very concerned about this thing being a bit flimsy, so don't expect me to go ahead of the team. Also, only having 3 laser vaporizers, I don't feel like I can do quick hit and runs that effectively, so very likely I'm going to be hanging back, waiting until the fight starts, and then trying to help out as much as I can there. Also, sadly, we didn't start on a completely flat terrain, so I didn't get the full vertical takeoff. Oh, that's a shame. Unless it's perfectly flat, it does seem to have some issues there. Was that enemy then? Yes, it is. I can't see my own shots. Very helpful. Oh, we were hit by 1 laser, and we're already going down. That is a crying shame indeed. Yep, no control left. Still can't see my shots, which is a bit upsetting. I think this could be because of how long I've been playing this so far. Been playing for around about an hour now, recording this, and sadly it has caused the bug where shots are becoming invisible. Ah, darn it! That was completely my fault, by the way. I stalled the craft by mistake. This thing does have proto-seekers, so need to be very careful with it. Okay, let's just go straight down. Let's just go straight down and try and survive. I think I will take a break after this because my speech is rapidly deteriorating. I can't even say that anymore. Don't know why I got so close to the proto-seeker robot. Kind of silly, honestly, but even so. Think we may have knocked off the proto-seeker. Darn it, hit by one of the plasma there. Lost a lot of control again. I don't think I've been hit once yet and not lost control. Come on, heal up. the lack of hit and run damage is very concerning. I think Plasma would have worked better with this, but either way, there we go, we actually managed to get a kill. Control-wise, it is a little bit sluggish. It is a little bit more sluggish than I originally thought it was going to be. Trying to pitch upwards and pitch down is a little bit slow. Okay, we didn't do too badly, we got 2 assists. I feel like we were very lucky that the enemy weren't really focusing on the air. If they had flak, I feel like we would have been dead instantly. Overall opinion, I think, is very obvious. It's a fun robot, it's a very cool concept. I don't know how you'd make a very tanky flyer with that concept is a problem, so I don't really know if I can say, just make it bulkier, because maybe that simply won't work. I think in terms of style, I'm going to give it a 4, because it's a unique idea, at least in terms of what I've seen in Robocraft. I think it's a very cool idea, and I would like to see it on other robots as well. In terms of combat, however, I am going to have to give it a 2. The fire rate of the weapons isn't fast enough for such a frail robot. I feel like in most fights it's going to lose, unless you get incredibly lucky, like I was with the Proto-Seeker enemy there on the cliff, and it is a little bit difficult to control. With the slow pitch, and with the actually quite fast forwards thrust, it can be difficult to position yourself, so it's not easy to simply pick up. Let's have a quick look-see just to make sure this is the laser vaporizer. It is. And what's the maximum fire rate, at least in terms of number? You will need 5 of those to get the maximum fire rate. I feel like even swapping it out for the laser disintegrator, which only takes 4 to get the maximum fire rate, would be a bit better, or perhaps, like I was saying, maybe using the plasma ravagers or plasma bombarders. Now I'm going to take a quick break, I'm going to get some tea, I'm going to relax so my voice comes back a little, then we're going to get into our last robot. Yet another robot that's a little bit off the norm. The Storm Dragon, the last robot we will be looking at today, and by no means least, most recent iteration, redone from scratch on the same principles as before, very compact, high maneuverability, good at long range and dogfighting, secondary function as a healer. I have no idea what to say about this robot. It looks a little bit frail, but other than that, I don't know how it's going to handle. I guess I could say that it has a decent variety of weapons. I believe they are the laser disintegrators. I believe they are the nano menders, although they could be the smaller variants, and it does have a single proto-seeker. Will this thing be good? I have no idea. However, there is a second version by the same fellow, which has higher quality rudders, so I assume we should be purchasing this one. Let's just go straight into Elimination and see how this does. Into the final battle of the day. So initial thoughts on controls, it is remarkably responsive. This thing just moves on a dime, so I'm really happy about that. It does seem to try and roll by itself, like now, which I'm a little bit concerned by, but if you're paying attention and not absent-minded, which of course is a problem for me, then I feel like you could probably dodge quite a bit, and it would be very good at dogfighting. Okay, focusing a little bit there, just make sure we are actually hitting the target. It's trying to hit us, so let's do a bit of manoeuvring. And well done to my ally there, getting the kill. Okay, spot him. Let's use the Proto-Seeker, just because I want to use the Proto-Seeker. The Proto-Seeker is so much better than it used to be. That power consumption, though, utterly obliterating the enemy, sadly not getting the kill, but of course that will net us an assist. I thought that was an enemy, it was an explosion. I mean, explosions aren't friendly. Oh, there's a flak user somewhere. This is concerning. Just keep spotting everyone we can. Respotting him. Let's swap to the Proto-Seeker so we can do a bit of easy damage on this fellow. Oh, he had the flak. I thought this guy was the guy with the flak. Obviously, I was mistaken. Surviving surprisingly well, honestly, considering how, what's the word I'm looking for here? How, not frail, but spindly this robot looks. I really thought that guy was the flak. I was so sure of it as well. So silly of me there, just going in without not being sure. But I guess that's my tiredness coming through. So, opinions on this robot. Surprisingly good. Surprisingly good. I liked it a lot. I feel like if you get used to this robot, you can probably do really, really well. And there we are, getting Japanese hollow flag. Well done, this robot, for getting me something I didn't have before. Combat, I'm going to say a very, either a very solid 3 or a good 4. You know what, I'm going to say 4 because I really do feel like, although this will be somewhat weak in some situations, I feel like enemies with Proto-Seekers, a lot of flak, are just going to utterly obliterate this robot. In other situations, like against Plasma, or against other dogfighters, it's going to do exceedingly well, so I am going to give this a 4. In terms of style, it's certainly very unique looking. I'm going to give it a very solid 3, but I can certainly see how some people who like this type of style, where it's very component heavy, would very much like it more than I do. I personally prefer a lot more armor blocks. I prefer large sections, so it's smooth sections like on this lovely head here to demonstrate, rather than the more spindly style, but I can certainly see why you would like it. I personally, though, am going to give it a 3. I would say 4 if I preferred that style. So, with that is the end of the episode, and probably the end of my voice for at least a week. I really enjoyed doing this. I think I will do specials again in the future, either simply asking for a certain CPU or a certain type of robot and then doing multiple, but definitely not in the next episode. The next episode will be a regular Factory Fun, so any suggestions are welcome. So if you would like to see your robot in a future episode of Factory Fun, then please leave your username, the robot's name, the movement type and weapon types the robot uses, and of course the CPU, as I just mentioned, and any other information you think will be pertinent, including, let's say, you should use camera controls, you shouldn't do elimination, you should only do TDM, stuff like that. It does make it so it's easier for me to tell things, as I only play it for around 20 to 30 minutes at most during a regular Factory Fun, or even less during a special, and I can very easily miss certain specifics. So, thank you again for watching. If you have enjoyed, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Robocraft is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.